Hello random people on the internet, my name is Banana and I have a Halloween skin, but that is besides the point because we got some brand new Skyblock news to go over today. We got a forum thread and then we got one little interesting thing other than the forum thread. So if this keeps you entertained, informed, or helps you out at all, I'd really appreciate a subscription because not that many people that watch my channel are actually subscribed. It's the best way to support me and you can always undo it later, so I'd appreciate that a lot. So to start off this video, we're going to go over the one small thing of Skyblock news that isn't from the forum thread, and that is that we actually got a skin leak from Minikloon's alt. You can see he changed it to this thing on screen right here. No idea what it is. Looks Enderman related to me, but that's probably wrong. It's basically just a purple thing. No idea what it does, but we haven't gotten a skin leak since frickin' July. It was July 26th when we got the last leak of a skin. It was August 24th when we got the last leak in Cowshed, and that was just that an update was coming out, and it was the dungeon rooms. So we're finally getting something. It has been forever. Hopefully this bodes well for an update coming soon, but we still don't really know much publicly about what is going on. On a more important note, we got 1.0 design thread for playing alone and playing together. I did skip a video on these design threads. Design thread 3 did come out. You can go find it on the forums. I did not like that thread that much. I was complaining a lot in the recording that I did of it, and it was very, very long and pretty boring, honestly. There wasn't any insane information in that one. So I did skip a thread, but we're back with another 1.0 design thread. If you guys don't know how this thread system works by the admins, basically they're working on making 1.0. They're in the design phase, and they're posting a lot of discussions. They want feedback on a lot of these ideas. Everything is subject to change. And please go into the forum post, comment on it, or go into the survey that is at the bottom of the forum post and leave your ideas down there because it's going to help make the game better, and that's why they're doing them. But we're looking at playing alone and playing together. To start off the thread, Jay of Armin basically talks about the solo player experience in Hypixel Skyblock. He says that people shouldn't have to rely on other people outside of something like dungeons. And Skyblock is an MMO, which means massively multiplayer online game. But like most other MMOs, players are playing solo and they're just surrounded by other people. They say at best they can encourage people to play together, give them the proper tools, make it easier in some cases, but at the end of the day, players should be able to compete solo. But right now, when you're playing solo, many instances around you, there are just players being annoying, they're making your experience worse, and when you decide to make a co-op or a party, there isn't much of an improvement, and it can also get worse. So today they're going to talk about most of these issues and all of their solutions. The first problem they talk about is public islands as a whole. They say that anyone who killed zealots in the end or spent time on foraging islands knows it can be frustrating to play around other late game players. I'm going to stop reading this right here just because, yes, this is very annoying. When an endgame player can do this, it definitely does lead to other players suffering. They said that with the release of Ghosts, they added a loot sharing system for the first time as a test. This was actually a really cool idea. I loved when they implemented this, and now they say that they're going to maybe improve the concept a little bit from how it was with Ghosts, but they are also going to spread it across the rest of the game as a whole. That is awesome because the loot sharing system, if you don't know how it works in the ghost area, if you kill a ghost within a certain time period and someone gets a drop anywhere around you, everyone gets that drop. It's sort of funny because if someone gets like a phoenix while you're grinding ghosts with them, you actually get a phoenix as well. That might need to get fixed, but the loot sharing idea of getting like sorrows and just everything from the ghost area shared between all the players that are down there really promotes doing it together rather than just doing it by yourself. They also talk about the boss loot systems. They're talking about how it makes sense for someone who plays Summoning Eyes to get more loot from a dragon. It makes sense for someone who has good performance on the dragon, i.e. dealing more damage, to do good on the dragon. But it doesn't make sense for your performance to be compared against other players. This is a definite huge factor in just deciding if you're gonna do dragons in a lobby. If someone's smoking you in damage, it leads to a bad loot experience for the person who placed everything. So you have to check the players that are in your lobby. You have to make sure that you're doing the right amount of damage. If you placed 4 summoning eyes, your party is not going to want you to deal damage because of how the system currently works. So they're saying that it should be incentivized to do your absolute best during a boss fight and not just participate, and it should not be compared to the rest of the lobby's performance to determine your loot. They plan on giving equal reward chances to everyone who reached simple milestones during boss fights and extra progress towards boss collections based on your performance. This is a pretty interesting idea bestiary wise when they're saying boss collections. If they're talking about just something like the bestiary milestones, I'm definitely looking forward to that. As someone who has not done a lot of dragons and can do a lot of damage, I think that's a really cool idea. And also it just allows you to do dragons with pretty much anyone you want, as long as you are capable of reaching a milestone before the dragon gets absolutely shredded to death. So this is a much needed change, and hopefully it should make all of the boss grinding areas less toxic. The last parts when it comes to public islands are that they're going to aim to fix players stealing your mob kills for their bestiary or impacting the loot you obtain, spawning your slayer boss away from you, and so on. Their goal is to implement more and more mechanics that turn all the currently toxic or annoying player-to-player experiences into wholesome content. Just to give a little note on this, I have no idea how they're going to stop you from stealing bestiary kills unless they're going to add more spawns, because killing things for bestiary, it's just killing a mob that's on an island. I don't know how you fix players, quote, stealing that, but I guess. They said that it's not about fixing issues, but also making you want to play around other players and other players wanting to play around you. Being around good players shouldn't be required, but ideally meeting other players should always be a positive experience. Some examples: improved loot sharing across the game, more types of auras / totems similar to power orbs benefiting players around you, and many new types of mini bosses in every zone that are much easier to defeat as a group with equal chances of rewards. That's all just some pretty good changes. I'm always down to have some more unique gameplay experiences when you're around other players. Mini bosses, I will take any day. I love bosses. And that is it for the public islands change. And let's go on to the second topic. I sort of lied, this is still about public islands, but it is a second separate topic, and it's talking about public island matchmaking. What they mean by public island matchmaking is to casually match players together based on their estimated strength when they go to a public island. It doesn't have to be an exact perfect science. The idea is just to make sure new players are together more often than not, and same goes for late game players. The only reason why we still haven't done that is because the current state of the game would be too obnoxious and sometimes even difficult to predict. But following point 1, if they can truly make late game players have fun together and even gain from being together, then everyone wins. New players wouldn't have to fight for scraps and will be surrounded by other players in early to mid game, while late game players will be benefiting from each other. This is an interesting change, to say the least. I'm not sure if I would consider it a good change as of right now. Just thinking off the top of my head, it would be really annoying trying to go into a Crystal Hollows lobby with a bunch of late game players because everyone uses the same ruby spot. You're basically screwing over a lot of late game players in that regard. I think if they are doing some good changes to make players benefit off of each other, I don't see a problem with it. I would very much enjoy seeing my friends more on public islands rather than random Lapis guys just mining their trees with their jungle axes. Sorry, random guy, I didn't mean to bully you. But we'll just have to see how that change ends up panning out. We'll have to see if it is only putting you in with late game players, or if it's going to just be a good mix of like a little bit here, a little bit there. Who knows? We can't really determine matchmaking without actually seeing it in action. Next, they talk about co-ops. As a huge co-op fan and a very notoriously amazing co-op player, I don't really care about these changes myself. I'm never making a co-op again, but they say that it's still a little early to unveil their plans for co-ops, but there are important issues they aim to fix on top of fixing multiple bugs. The first problem is how much trust co-op members have to place in each other. A majority of co-ops are created hastily, and over time some of the members regret their decisions. On top of that, one bad password, one emotional drama, and the co-op might be ruined for everyone. Joining a co-op shouldn't be that large of a decision. That's that's Pog. You shouldn't have to fully trust a person, especially when you make a co-op at the beginning of the game and you end up dumping thousands of hours in later on down the line, and maybe you don't like your co-op that much anymore. You shouldn't have to be concerned about someone getting hacked or just anything. There's so many emotional issues. They're humans, you know? Co-ops are not robots, so human issues are going to come up, and them ruining your playtime that you've put in can sort of suck a little bit. The second problem is that in some ways co-ops give competitive advantage over solo players, but in most ways actually make it harder to compete. There shouldn't be any strategy behind joining a co-op or going solo. Both options should be extremely similar. We'll have more to talk about for co-ops when we get a better picture of where we want to go with it, but in the meantime, feel free to share what you like or dislike about the co-op system. So I believe what they're talking about when it comes to giving a competitive advantage might be XP levels on just things, because people have to split less money when it comes to, like, they can all just go grind money in the same method and get more money than other people, and then run minions, and then all of them spend less money to get more XP, and that can be a little bit annoying. But then again, you look at co-ops, and right now co-ops have an insanely nerfed collection rate, and it really sucks for competing with solos when it comes to just getting your collections done. I remember when the Dwarven Mines came out and I was still in a co-op, I was grinding just as much as people like Deathstreaks, Eelman, Beescape, all the people that were grinding Heart of the Mountain with me, and I was so far behind them in Mithril collection. It was insane, and that was purely because I was getting nerfed by my co-op, and my co-op was not nearly as active as I was at that time. So seeing some changes to make co-ops more in line with solos and not be a competitive advantage as well is going to be pretty nice. The last topic is a very interesting one. I'm looking forward to this one a lot, and that is guilds. In the original release of Skyblock, they mentioned a lot of guild content. There are so many Skyblock guilds, so many people trying to recruit for their Skyblock guilds all the time, and over the whole development, they've had countless ideas for guild islands, guild content, and it's precisely because there were so many options that they couldn't pick the best one. They've had so many different ideas, and they can't choose. But the first step is to finally use guild houses in each hub, but instead of letting guilds buy a hub house, it'll be an automated system. This is very interesting to me. Automated system for buying guild house, or not even buying, just a house will be assigned. This house will be the Flexing Chimp's house, and the house over here will be the house for Fishy Cult or something. I think it's really cool that guilds aren't going to have to dump a lot of resources in it, and they're going to get the recognition that they need. And they say that each hub will have different types of guild houses. Most houses are going to feature the top guilds in terms of global progression, but others will feature more niche guilds, rewarding a diverse set of guild types. We have other neat little features for guilds coming up, but when it comes to actual large guild content, it may or may not be in the scope of 1.0 at the moment. So just looking at what they said there, they said that the global progression guilds are going to be the majority of the houses in each hub. I am a little bit confused what they're talking about when they say each hub, because there's one hub. I don't know if they're going to go into like the dungeon hub and add houses, or maybe they're talking about different sections of the area. Like this could become a guild house for a foraging guild or something. I'm not exactly sure what they are talking about there, but they are for sure talking about these houses around here. And I did mention Flexing Chimps. They will most definitely have a guild house when it comes to their global progression. And when they say something more niche, maybe Fishy Cult actually is a good example for that, because Fishy Cult, they fish a lot, you know, they got a lot of fishing XP. Maybe it's just going to be like, oh, the houses over here are going to be for the #1 fishing guild because this is the fishing area or something like that. I'm not exactly sure what they're going to do in that regard, but I'm excited to see guilds get more use, because guilds have been pretty dead ever since God Pots came out, because splashes were pretty much the only reason that anyone would actually have to join a guild. Obviously, you can get some benefits in a guild by just asking people for things, learning more things, having communication. Friendship is good, but there's really no reason to be in a great guild, and now with the guild houses coming soon, there might actually be one. Alright, the too long didn't read or too long didn't watch for anyone that's for some reason skipped to this part in the video exactly. The loot sharing system is going to be improved and extended to the rest of the game. The loot of world bosses is going to be changed to reward players based on their own performance instead of comparing it to others. Overall, they're aiming at fixing any instance of gameplay where having players around is frustrating. They're looking to add more features that enable you to be useful to other players around you. They're planning on adding island matchmaking system to separate new players from late game players on islands that need it. New co-op systems are on the horizon to make it both safe to start a co-op, but also make sure that co-op islands do not have an impact on progression. And guilds will be officialized in-game with the introduction of guild houses, laying the path for future guild content. So that's going to be it for the forum thread. As for my thoughts on it, I think that guild houses are going to be hype. I think that the island matchmaking changes are a bit iffy. We'll have to see them in practice, but everything in there seemed pretty cool. And obviously, I'm down for less toxic behavior in Skyblock. I'm down to have to suffer around players a little bit less. So if you guys enjoyed the video or enjoyed the forum thread, definitely go leave a comment down below. Leave a comment on the forum thread. Fill out the survey on the forum thread. Give some feedback to the admins. They need it. They're asking for it. That's why they're doing the thread. So I hope this kept you informed. Hope it helped you out. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. Peace out.